Welcome back to Speed Sport Magazine. I'm Ralph Sheheen. You know, as much as I love racing, there's one thing that I love even more: birthday cake. Yeah, I'm hoping after tonight's show that outlaw karting champion Karsyn Elledge might even save me a piece, as today is her 14th birthday. Happy birthday, Karsyn. But seriously, for those not familiar with Karsyn, she is the daughter of Kelly Earnhardt Miller, whose dad was the late Dale Earnhardt Sr., and she's become quite a force on the dirt tracks in North Carolina, earning numerous race wins and outlaw karting championships. Derek Pernesiglio caught up with her at her home track, Millbridge Speedway in Mooresville, North Carolina.
You know, obviously you've come from a great line of racers, but what's it like carrying on the family tradition?
Carrying on the family tradition, most people would think that it puts a lot of pressure on me, which it does pressure me a little bit, but I just don't let it get to me, and I think of myself as, you know, just another person out there trying to race, and I just don't let the pressure get to me, and it seems to help me a lot.
Is there any times where someone has said, oh, you're only getting these chances and you're getting in this good equipment because of who you are?
More than I can count. You know, negativity is something that I just don't pay much attention to, because in the end the good outweighs the bad. So I just try to not worry about the people that don't like me, because there's more people that do than don't. So.
When did you decide that you wanted to start racing?
I really didn't think much about it until around 2009, when my dad, he told me that he had started racing these at Woodleaf, I think it was, and Millbridge both, but he told me that he wanted to take me to one of his races, and so I was like, okay, I'll go with you. And at first I wasn't too sure about it. I was like, I'm probably going to be so bored. But I got there and I had a really good time, and I remember seeing Ashley racing in the box stock, and I was like, is that a girl? And I mean, it was, and I was like, wow, that means I can do this too. And so it kind of interested me, and that's what got me started.
But Karsyn wasn't the first female racer in the Earnhardt family. Her mom, Kelly, had a heavy right foot of her own, and had a feeling one day Karsyn would race.
What went through your mind when it first got suggested to you?
Well, I was excited. I mean, I raced as not really a kid, but as a young woman, and so, you know, it's kind of in our genes from all sides of the family. And I was excited for her. Actually, when I got out there and realized that, like, she was racing at the time against actually the promoter here, Ashley Burnett, you know, and who was in her 20s, and there was these kids out there racing, there was 20-year-old girls out there racing, and at first I didn't like all that, but you know, she held her own and did well, and we grew with it from there.
So tell me about that first time that you drove.
The first time I got in my car, I was actually more nervous than you would think. First race, not really something I was used to, but it was a lot of fun, and I was a really bad sport though. The first race that I did win my first race, but after that, when I started losing, I wasn't happy. But my first race went really well for me. I was nervous, but you know, after I got to driving, I was like, hey, I just felt like it came natural to me.
Your dad is a huge supporter of your racing.
Mm-hmm.
He's a huge part of it, you know, from building the chassis for you to driving tips to everything.
Mm-hmm.
How much information do you take from him and apply it?
My dad has been my biggest supporter and my biggest helper too. He, you know, with him being very experienced in these cars, he's been racing them since he was my age. He's given me driving help a lot. When I get out of my car, he's the first one there telling me things to fix, things I did good on too. And he's just pretty much my helper, and he's always right beside me.
You've won 2 championships out here in the box stock division. You've won a championship in 125, racing in the 500s this year. But what is the next move for your racing and your racing career?
My dad and my mom and I, we haven't really talked much about what I want to do next. And I think for right now, I'm just having fun doing what I'm doing. And I'd like to try maybe another year in the open class after this, just for fun and practice and seat time. But we haven't really talked much about my future, and I'm just having fun right now.
Even without an immediate plan for her future in racing, she's already showing traits on and off the track of her famous grandfather.
You said in other interviews that she reminds you of your father. What kind of characteristics does she have that reminds you of him?
I'd probably say the first thing is that she's brash. You know, she's just sass and confident and, you know, in control of the situation. She makes it known that she wants to be in control of the situation. That was much like my dad. And just in general, she's good at most everything that she attempts to do. Her brashness and sass, I think, and the confidence is probably what reminds me of him most.
What would you like to try racing?
I've always wanted to try sprint cars since I started racing, but my mom won't let me. She says that she knows a lot of people that have been hurt, and you know, she knows somebody who's been paralyzed, and I know one driver who's been killed actually in a sprint car, but you know, it doesn't stop me from wanting to live my dream and be a race car driver, and so sprint cars is something that I've always wanted to try, and hopefully I can sway my mom into letting me do it.
If your father could see her race, what do you think he would say?
Yeah, I think he'd be pretty impressed. I mean, I honestly think he'd say she's a chip off the old block, and from the time, you know, she was only 5 months old when he died, and when she was born, he was at the hospital right away. He was so proud, and I remember Halloween at Dale Earnhardt Incorporated. I took her over that day dressed up, and he took her from me and said, "See ya," and he walked her all around the shop and showed her off to everybody, and we went to the Dale Earnhardt Incorporated Christmas party that year, and again, you know, he just showed her off. So I know that, you know, with all of the grandchildren, he would just be right up in everything that they do, and probably giving them more opportunity than we've given them at this point to do the things that they love to do and be involved, and I know he'd just eat it right up.
There's already young girl racers out there that express they look up to you, just like you look up to some other female racers. Do you have any advice for them?
Just even though you're a girl, don't let people tell you that you're not good because you're a girl and you can't race in a male-dominant sport because you're a girl, or you can't do this because you're a girl. Just look at other people as other competitors and just do your thing, and when people tell you that you can't do it, show them that you can.
I'm really looking forward to seeing her run a dirt sprint car one day. That would be a lot of fun. Good luck and enjoy the rest of your birthday, Karsyn. Still to come, winged sprint cars from Ocean Speedway out in California in the 54th annual Johnny Key Classic.
Are you ready, race fans? The fastest micro-sprint drivers from across the nation will battle it out in the first ever Port City Raceway Micro-Sprint Outlaw Nationals, October 16th through the 18th. Sprint car drivers Shane Stewart, Rico Abreu, Christopher Bell, and more of the hottest, most fearless drivers in the country are scheduled to compete for the biggest payout in micro-sprint history. Don't miss Port City Raceway's biggest event ever, the Port City Raceway Outlaw Nationals. Get ready to witness racing history.